Day two, you said England had a chance and needed to take advantage of it, but India emphatically didn't let them do that. How much praise do India deserve for that?
Oh, they played an excellent game. They've got some fantastic players. Today we saw two of them in particular, young Yashasvi Jaiswal, who played a brilliant innings, a double hundred of staggering quality, and splattered England's bowlers all over the park in the afternoon session, much as England have done to opposition bowlers in their time over the last 2 years. 12 sixes equaled a world record in a single innings in a test match. So an astounding young player. And then the classy all-rounder Ravindra Jadeja, who backed up a first innings 100 with 5 wickets. Very difficult bowler to face when you've got a lot of runs on the board and a wearing pitch. So, I mean, although it looks bad today, England actually lost the game on the first innings. On that third morning, they had a chance after Ben Duckett, second morning after Ben Duckett's brilliant 100, to get up with India on that first innings. And that's really where England lost it, giving away that big first innings lead.
And it's India's biggest ever win in terms of by runs, England's second biggest defeat. Now, McCullum and Stokes, we know they are all about positivity and they are very good at instilling a positive attitude into the players. But they're going to have to dig deep to find positivity after this defeat.
Yes, they just will admit, well, I don't know whether they admit it publicly, but privately, they'll probably say to themselves, we didn't get things quite right in this game. I'm, like many others, have been hugely thrilled watching England over the last 2 years under Ben Stokes. They played some fantastic cricket. They've really dragged people along, winning hearts and minds along the way, and winning far more games than they've been losing, which is the important thing to stress. But they're not going to get it right all the time. They didn't get it quite right in this game. As I say, that passage of play in the morning when Ben Duckett was not out overnight, Joe Root got out 5th over of the morning, and then that first innings collapse. It's very difficult to win games in India from behind. They did it in Hyderabad, which is a rarity. You're not going to win that many games if you keep giving away a lead of more than 100 runs on first innings, because unlike in England, where the pitches tend to stay true and don't really deteriorate, they might help a little bit at the start, but they stay pretty good at the end. Here in India, towards the 4th and 5th days, if you ever get into a 5th day, it is very difficult batting against the spinners. So you've got to try and get ahead of the game if you can. And if England are honest with themselves looking at this game, I think that's the area they'll look at, just the way they collapsed in the first innings and gave away that big first innings lead.
But how can they stop the Indian batters piling on these runs in the first innings? Because, like you said, it's another deficit.
Well, to be honest, in the first innings here, India got 450, but that was about par for the course on the pitch. It was a very good pitch. The pitches in this series have been much better than in 2021. And 450 was about par. England did drop Rohit Sharma on 27, and India could have been 40 for 4 at that point. And then who knows? It's a game of lots of what-ifs. So take your chances would be one thing. But that, they wouldn't say that India got away from them on first innings. And then England really ought to have been up with India. And then the third innings becomes a much different game. Pressure's on the side in the third innings when there's 2 big first innings scores. So I wouldn't be too concerned about that. Jaiswal got ahead of the game today and played absolutely magnificently. But India were well ahead of the game. That's not where the game was lost today.
Well, let's talk about Jaiswal. How special is he? Because it's 2 straight double hundreds. All of his hundreds have been 150 plus. You say, OK, but you can get 100 at big innings, but you've got to get a big 100. Well, he's doing that. How good is he?
Well, he's a fantastic young player. I hadn't seen much of him in Test match cricket. England fans want to see much of him before this series, but they've seen enough of him to know that he's a special young talent. Very hungry for runs. As you say, each of his 3 hundreds, more than 150, 2 of them doubles. He smacks the ball a long way. I mean, he's a powerfully built lad. He's a modern T20 player who is adapting to Test cricket and has the technique and the wherewithal to do it at the top of the order. But then when he gets in, has all the shots. I mean, Jimmy Anderson can rarely have been treated with such disdain as he was this afternoon when he got taken for those 3 consecutive sixes. So he's a very, very dangerous player. And clearly England will have to try and work out a method of how to get him early if they can.
We were talking about positivity there from McCullum and Stokes. Well, the positive is, although England are 2-1 down, it's only 2-1 with 2 to play. This series is very much still on for England.
It is. They've taken a big blow in this game. They're going to have to turn things around pretty quickly. There's not much of a rest now before Ranchi, so they'll have to look at the fitness of Wood and Anderson, who've got through a test match here, whether they'll get through another one in Ranchi, or whether they'll save them for Dharamshala. But of course, no point saving them if they go down in Ranchi. That's the series done and dusted. So they've got a few selection issues to solve. One or two batters not really in top form in that middle order, although they've not got Dan Lawrence is here, but Harry Brooks obviously not here. He's at home. So, lots of issues, but two games to play. And Stokes and McCullum are the type of coach and captain really to just put things to bed. They will no doubt have a bit of a debrief, a bit of a chat about this game, but then they will move on quickly. And a new test match starts in Ranchi, and England will try and grab that and get ahead of the game.